G'day, everyone. It's SDS SuperCoach, providing SuperCoach content for you. I'm here to present with the Round 21 review. And look, I'm thrilled. I'm absolutely thrilled. So we scored 2,489. We moved up 204 spots. And for the first time ever, we are now inside the top 1K. So this has never happened to me before. So I'm really happy about it because you do a lot of research, you make content, all that sort of thing. It's great to see my research and my thought process pay off. So there's still 3 rounds to go, but I am super thrilled with this. So I'm in a good mood with my rank and all that. So it's just a good feeling. So no, it feels really good. So happy to be inside the top 1K. So we're now 892nd. Not one, no 4 digits anymore. We're down to 3 digits now. So it's really good. I'm pretty happy with the team, but we do have a massive decision to make. We have 1 trade left in the bank, and it's going to be used this week on Nick Daicos, of course. Now, everyone owns Nick Daicos, so it's going to be very interesting to see what everyone does with this trade in terms of what direction they're going to go to. So I know it's a bit disappointing that Nick Daicos did go down, but this is going to separate a lot of teams heading into the last 3 weeks because there's not a clear-cut option. There's many different avenues that each team could go down. So I'll have a look at my options for that. So this feels like the most relevant SuperCoach week probably in a while just because everyone has Nick Daicos. So if you do have a trade or 2 up your sleeve, then you got Nick Daicos, I presume, and you probably need to look to move him on. So James Sicily, 166, unreal. If this, I didn't mention that. What a win by the Hawks. It was unbelievable. Now, I didn't watch any of the games on Saturday, including Hawthorn Collingwood, because I did have a Bucks party this weekend for my mate Nick, so shout out to him. I won't get into details on what exactly we got up to, so we'll just keep that up in the air. So James Sicily, 166. As I said, I didn't watch the game. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch the replay of the whole game tonight, but clearly Hawthorn's best win of the season. Unbelievable feeling. I actually don't hate Collingwood, but it's always good to knock them off. So unlucky for any Pie supporters, but you're still on top, so it's okay. I'm sure you're living. Sicily 166, unbelievable. If this bloke doesn't get in the All-Australian team, I'd be baffled, and I'd be just as pissed off as I was last year that he didn't get in. But whatever. Tom Stewart, 134, super good. As I said, I barely watched anything from Saturday. Didn't see a second of the Saturday afternoon games. Didn't see a second of Hawthorn and Collingwood. I saw the last quarter of Geelong Port, and that's it. So I watched most of the games on Sunday as well. And I watched the Friday night game, of course. But Tom Stewart, 134. I saw at one point he was on -8. I'm like, holy what is going on here? But he bounced back really well, clearly. Now, Nick Daicos, he was getting tagged by Finn McGuinness. Finn McGuinness towed him up pretty well. But unfortunately went down with a knee injury, I think during the 3rd, and then Collingwood just rubbed him out for the rest of the game in the 4th. So it is a 6-week hairline fracture knee injury for Daicos, and it's unfortunate that we do have to trade him out. We'll go over some of the options when they pop up. Sinclair, 99, solid, very good. Will Day, now I'm very happy with this bloke because this could have easily have been a luxury trade, but we've held the faith. He's been really good over the last 7 weeks. So ever since round 13, he's been awesome. So just one really poor score here. Other than that, he's been really good. So very happy with Will Day. Yeah, love the bloke. Absolute young gunner of the comp. Harry Sheasel, 56. Clarko's back in the hot seat. I think what I mainly saw was as soon as St Kilda Carlton started, I flicked over to that game. But yeah, I just saw it in the second half. He just couldn't get a touch on the ball. I think Jack Siebel is affecting that. He just got a lot of the seagull type ball again. So Sheasel was having a good run in the side just due to not having Zeeble or Hall in the side, but now Zeebel's back. That hurts Sheasel. So If he can go 80 plus from here, that'd be fine. Mullen, Constable. Hopefully Mullen plays, but probably not Constable. Bont 153. I was a bit fuming about not vice captaining any of the blokes on the Friday night, but Zach Merritt helped out big time there. For what it's worth, if I was going to vice captain someone on the Friday night, it would have been Tim English, and he went 112, which isn't captainable, but whatever. Yeah, Bont 153. Awesome. Great to see a ripping score there. Probably should have looked more into it. They're going up against the Tigers. They struggle a fair bit, so it's whatever, but good to have Bont, I guess. Libba, I brought in this bloke a couple of weeks ago. Unbelievable. 159 against Richmond. Just super good, super good. So really happy with that. Really happy with this trade-in. So we traded Ashcroft to Libba a couple of weeks ago. It's give us a 133 and a 159. Grouse stuff. So good to have Libba in the team. So good to watch. A lot of tackles. Works hard. Beautiful stuff. Petrarca, even though he's playing forward, he's putting in the same output as he had. I think he would be scoring a lot better if he was playing the midfield, but I can't complain. 125. Beautiful stuff from Petrarca there. So very happy with this man. Rory Laird, 93, hasn't quite hit the heights of what he did last year. Me starting him this year was probably a bit of a fail just because he went down to a pretty low price where people that didn't start him could have picked him up a bit later, but it's okay. He's still a top 8 mid, so it's whatever. Zach Merritt, 143, vice captain. So this was really good. I think I saw him on about 109. We were going bowling on the Saturday afternoon, and I saw Merritt on about 109 with 5 minutes to go, I think. I just thought, oh, geez, I just don't think he's going to have enough of a score. But when I checked, the score was over, and I saw he finished on 143, so he must have made a couple of big plays late. So super thrilled with that. Dawson 89. All right. Unfortunate for Will Powell as well, who I don't know the full extent, but I believe he broke his leg again or something like that. Haven't seen the full vision or anything, but disappointing because I was at the game last year, Gold Coast Adelaide, when that happened, and it's a shame that happened again against the same opposition. So really stiff for Will Powell. I just think he's going to be a player that just hopes he'll be managed every time they play against the Crows, I reckon. Andy Brayshaw, 124, been a ripping pick, ripping trade-in, so very happy with him. Lachie Neale's slowed up over the past few weeks. Now, it's probably because he's getting tagged every week again. His last month hasn't been great, so it's probably just because he's getting tagged, so it's nothing too severe. Keys 80, didn't see a second of this, but hopefully he goes into the midfield next week because he might be tagging Lachie Neale. So, I mean, at least they'll bump up his score a tad, but yeah, he's just there for backup. Tim English, 112, pretty good. Didn't quite hit the heights of what he did over the past few weeks there, but that's totally fine. Ryan Marshall, 118, super solid. He's been a very good pick this season. Very solid ruck. I'd rather Gawn, but it's totally fine with Marshall. Dunkley, very uncharacteristic score from him with just a 77, so that's a bit disappointing, but I'm sure he can bounce back. Errol Goulden, 120, very good. Just been a superb pick. Shame we're not going to get many of these blokes in the forward line next year. Goulden's been such a fun own, so I'd love to have this bloke back in my team next year. If possible, he's probably a guy where he could probably drop a few average scores. So I don't think he's going to be a bloke that I start next year, but he could be a bloke where I pick up, for sure I pick up during the year, just because he can have the tendency of dropping a bad game. Connor Rozee, 99, really good. Not really good, sorry, but he's just so consistent. I really like having Rozee. What's his lowest score of the year? An 84. That's pretty good. So he's just super consistent, so I quite like that out of players. Darcy Cameron, 74, bit more disappointing. Ned Reeves is pretty restrictive though, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, 74, had a couple of really good weeks, a 135 and a 127, but fell back down to earth just a tad. Tim Taranto, he's really dropped off. Probably not in the current All-Australian team now at this point. He's had other than the West Coast game, 2, 4, 6, 5 of his last 6 games have been below the ton. So I'm still intrigued to start him next year in the midfield. And I don't mind that he's dropping down his average. Means he'll be cheaper next year. Am I lagging? No, I thought I was lagging a bit there. Tim Taranto, yeah, I wouldn't mind starting him next year just because he's the main midfielder for Richmond. And we know what he's capable of. He's just dropped off over the past 6 weeks. So, but everyone owns him, so it's not that big of a deal. Harry Himmelberg, a 91. Yeah, I'll just take 90 pluses from here from Harry. He's got the good role, 5-year contract extension. So hopefully he can just keep it up. Reward GWS for giving him such a big deal. Marriage played, 67, pretty cool. He's actually been, he would have been a really good rookie selection. A cash cow, but unfortunately, he's just there for cover now, so it doesn't really matter. So what could he get to? Like 290-ish K. So he would have made people near on 200K. So that would be a good result, but doesn't matter at this point of the end. Cooper Harvey hopefully gets back in the side. Same with Matt Roberts. I really want Matt Roberts to play for the last couple of games just as extra cover. All right. Now, what can we talk about? Also, by the way, I apologize for just uploading the round review last week. It was just getting that point of the year where it's just a bit, what is there to post? But this week is certainly a lot more relevant in terms of talking SuperCoach because of the big Nick Daicos injury. So we can talk about that a bit more. I'll upload a bit more this week, so I do apologize for that. Look, I'll just quickly have a look at the leagues because that is pretty relevant at this point of the year because we've now hit SuperCoach finals. So we'll go through that. Shout out to Jono. This is my Sports Media and Mates League. I take that pretty seriously. Just good to get bragging rights if I can win the comp there. I'm in the prelim and first. The SDS Toms Pro League. Shout out to Corey, mate. Unlucky. So it was unfortunate to do it to you. You're out of the finals, so I do apologise for that. But hopefully you do well in the rest of the leagues. The SDS SuperCoach League. I beat Sean, don't think Dude. So that was good to get a win there. See if I can go back to back in this league for next year, for this year. So we'll see how that goes. I guess we can have a look at the finals formats. So, this is the SDS Toms Pro League. So me and Brad are still live. He's going up against Daniel Crano. And I'm going up against Jono again, so maybe Jono can have better luck this time around. So we'll see how that pans out. I think Jono captained Jack Steele last week, so he was a bit stiff there. I'm sure he'll pick a better captain this week. So I'm going up against Jono. I've only got 2 games this coming week, and I'm also going up against, I believe, Todd in the Spillers Division 1 SuperCoach League. So. Yeah, so Stuart's Misfits, Ryan, he's having a really good season, and Grace's Secrets, Steve, another Steve. So they're through to the prelim. Me and Brad have to try to get through Jono and Daniel. And then for the SDS SuperCoach League, it's the 2 Stevens in the prelim. Wow, 4th beat first. Unlucky Riley. Let's see if you can beat Corey in the semi-final there. And then Daniel versus Sean. So Crano's in both my leagues, same with Corey. So shout out to those 2. Cheers for being in the leagues. So yeah, I'm in the prelim of my own league, so that's good. All right, let's talk about Nick Daicos. So he's out for 6 weeks. Only 1 trade left. Would have preferred to have held this trade for another week, but you can only do what you got to do. So let's just move on Nick Daicos because there's no point having him. Been a really good pick this year, so shout out to Nick Daicos. He's probably going to be a bloke that I start next year as well. He's going to be probably just a midfielder, but that's fine. Now it's unfortunate with this this injury, but this has lowered his average for next year a fair bit. So he's going to be under 650K, which is really good. So I was worried I was going to have to start him at 690 or something like that. Looks like he's going to be around 645-ish. if I'm judging by prices from heading into this season, he should be roughly around 645k. I'll happily start Nick Daicos next year, probably with Tim English. So they're probably going to be my two big spenders in my team for next year. But we'll worry about just this year, just because I'm really enjoying the season. Have a good rank, so I'm pretty happy with it. So won't think about next year too much just yet. All right, let's go over a few options. Now, I'll try to talk about what I'm thinking and also what you guys are thinking as well. So some of you guys might not be able to afford like a Luke Ryan, that sort of thing. So I'll look at players below the price. I'll look at my situation as well. Can't afford Dan Houston. You've got these two blokes. So if I am going to go a defender, it's probably between Luke Ryan and Sam Doherty. So it's just between these two. Let me just have a look at their scoring. I think Ryan's cooled off a tad since that Carlton game. Yeah. So he's gone. He's been really, really solid, but hasn't quite hit the heights that he did there. Freo are playing a bit better, so I do wonder if Freo are playing a bit better. So I just wonder if Ryan's scoring will drop off, because we know he does score better in losses. So Freo are playing a bit better, so we might just have to give that some thought. Yeah, so he's an interesting one. Sam Doherty, if I wanted to go more of a pod option, a lot of people are bringing him in. 7% are bringing him in. Who's he going up against? Melbourne, Gold Coast, and GWS. Gold Coast, he scored a 111, GWS 87, and Melbourne 96. All right, pretty interesting. So, yeah, Doherty is an interesting option there as well. We'll look at some players below that. Lockie Whitfield, no. If you don't have Sinclair, I think that's perfectly fine. Newman, yeah, I mean, Carlton are playing better, so he could be an option. Taylor, key defender, just a bit too inconsistent, I reckon. Darcy Moore, probably not. Angus Brayshaw, with Oliver coming back, probably not. Bailey Dale's interesting. He's pretty interesting, actually. Mitch Duncan, too old. Jaden Short. This wouldn't be the worst call. That 48. Oh, well, he did his did he do his hamstring in that game? So, I mean, he does have some pretty bad he's really starting to build up that soft tissue injury history now. So he's more prone to them. And then past that, and not really interested in any of that. So if I had to pick a bloke you'd go below Nick Daicos' price, I'd probably go for. Oh, actually, it's really tough. Probably Bailey Dale, I reckon. Probably Bailey Dale would be my guy if you don't have... Oh, wait. I forgot to mention a couple of these blokes. So, under Nick Daicos' price, my favourite would be Jack Sinclair. Will Day and Harry maybe not so much Sheasel. If you don't have Will Day, then I don't mind that. If you want a defensive option, Jack Sinclair's pretty good. Maybe not Sheasel now, just because of Zeeble back into the team. So probably skip on that. What else can we look at? Let's have a look at some midfielders. Sort by highest price. So who can I get? I can't get LDU. Chera's injured, no point. Jack Steele, after that 57, probably not. Zach Butters or Caleb Sarong, they're both really interesting targets. So I'm considering those two there. Canelio, I mean, he's so highly owned. I'd rather just bet against him. I mean, he's done better the past few weeks, but he hasn't exactly killed me. That 122 hurt a bit, but other than that, he hasn't really destroyed me. Not too many people had him in round one, so yeah, I'll happily go against Canelio, even though he's been a lot better. I'd rather have him than Keys, let's just say that. Other than that, no, I don't really like many of these, so other than that, probably not. Josh Kelly, 62. That's just classic Josh Kelly, isn't it? Yeah, so Zach Buzz and Caleb Strong would be two guys that are quite like at that price. And then we'll have a look at forwards as well. So let's have a look at that. So Daicos, Let's just put Rosie there. Let's have a look at some forwards because I do think there are some really interesting targets here. Zach Butters, as I mentioned. There is one bloke I really do like. Nah, probably not. Tex would be good for round 24 if he had a trade, but well, I'll be down to 0, so that doesn't really matter. It is Luke Jackson. He's playing full-time ruck. He did score 173. It's just more these fixtures that I'm really, really interested in. So he's going up against West Coast with potentially no Bailey Williams. He might have Jack Williams instead or whatever the case may be there. And that's a real captainable sort of game because Luke Jackson, we know he's a talented player, but the fact he's playing solo ruck and going up against two really easy ruck matchups with Jack Williams or Bailey Williams. Who's the Port young ruck? Dante Vizentini, something like that. So that's a really good matchup as well. Even if Lysette plays, Port Adelaide do leak a lot of points in the ruck. And then round 24 against the Hawks, Reeves is a bit more restrictive, but he could still probably do a solid job there. So I really like Luke Jackson and I like Zach Butters. So they're probably my two favourite targets. I mean, if we can look lower than that, Sam Flanders ain't the worst. I'd probably prefer Luke Jackson, though. Nick Martin's really sort of dropped off now. That role that he's playing was never really going to result to consistent scoring, even though it did for a bit, but just not for a whole season. I think, yeah, 3 of his last 4 games have been in the 50s. Good young player, but with the role he's currently got, doesn't really translate to SuperCoach scoring. So, yeah, look, early days for me, it's Luke Jackson. And now I've got 90K in the bank to just be totally useless, which sucks, but whatever. All right, let's have a look at how this team would look. And we can have a look at vice captain and captains as well. Yeah, leave keys there. Yep. Probably vice captain and captain. Probably. This is tough. Probably Merritt again. Maybe Tom Stewart. Maybe Tom Stewart against the Pies. I don't think that's the worst shout into Merritt. The only reason I don't want to captain Merritt is because I know that when Zach Merritt went absolutely bananas in the first quarter, Liam Shields did tag him for the remainder of the game and hard tagged him. So it does scare me a little bit more putting the captaincy on Merritt there. Could he get hard tagged the whole game and not do much for the rest, not do much for the whole game? So it might be Merritt because I do think he'll score pretty well. Captain, probably Bont. Like, it's just safe. I know he won't let me down. I know people ask about, will Finn McGuinness tag him? Finn McGuinness won't tag him. I think Connor Nash will around the stoppages. Now, does that mean, like, they'll put some serious attention into him in stoppages where they basically just rule him out? That could be the case. Liberatore could be a guy. This is tough. Might be Stewart into Merritt, but it's not totally locked in at all. I'm not too sure. It's a bit of a tougher week. Like, Petrarca going up against a really good team in Carlton now these days, so I find that a bit tougher. Hard to trust the Lions boys at the minute. Same with the Adelaide boys. They're going up against Brisbane anyway at the Gabba. I probably wouldn't do that. Oh, Tim English against Ned Reeves is a bit more restrictive, so probably not. Maybe Luke Jackson. Stuff it. Maybe give the captaincy to Luke Jackson. Going up against either Jack Williams or Bailey Williams, he could go nuts. So maybe something like that. Now, I will say the only problem with captaining Luke Jackson, the only negative about bringing in Luke Jackson is that if I get an injury or a suspension down back, I've no way to cover it unless it's Sheasel, because I can move Sheasel and Himmelberg around, blah, blah, blah. And I've got no trades left. So it would be a concern, and which is why I'm leaning more towards, I know Luke Jackson would be awesome to get for the last few weeks, but I'd have 0 cover down back unless Mullen plays. So that's a bit of a concern for me because I'll just be copping zeros if I do get Sicily Stewart, Dawson Sinclair, or day injury or suspension. I can't cover it. So it's just something I am considering. So it might be Doherty instead, because at least if I bring in a defender, I can, let's just say Sinclair gets injured, I can swap Doherty into the back line and play Keys for the rest of the year. So, yeah. Look, I'm on no trades now. I can cop no more than 2 injuries per round because, yeah, I've only got 2 playing players on the bench. So I've got Keys, I've got Marich, and that's it. And I've got ruck cover. And if I brought in a defender like Doherty, then I'd have defensive cover as well. So, yeah, look, it's just something I will have to decide. Do I want to bring in the bloke that I want, but it would sacrifice me not having any defensive cover for 5 of my 6 defenders? Or would I rather bring in a defender if Jack Sinclair gets a week suspension, I can cover that with Keys and all that. So something I will have to decide and give some more thought to. I think I'll leave it there, guys, though. So thank you guys very much for watching. I do apologize that there hasn't been a live stream for a couple of weeks. I think we'll do that this week with Brad, just because this week's pretty important, just to pick the right bloke to replace Daicos. So, yeah, I'll leave it there, guys. Super thrilled with SuperCoach. Really happy with my rank. Good to see a bit of reward for my research and my content. So it's been really good season. Hopefully we can stay inside the top 1K. That's really the aim now, is to just stay in there or hopefully continue to go up. So we'll see. Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.